Hi, so I'm going to show you how to deploy a Ruby gem that I have written along with some tests to GitHub, and then from GitHub I'm going to sync it with Travis CI for continuous integration, and I'm going to be able to run tests on that when it goes up, and then whenever I make a change to it I'll also automatically run the tests on Travis CI and it'll show us the results. So we'll start by going to GitHub, github.com. I'm going to log into my account, and then from here I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to call it PGA Leaderboard, which is the name of the gem. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to initialize it. I'm going to put a gitignore file in for Ruby, which is what it is. So the gitignore file will stop some files being uploaded to Git, such as configuration files and temporary files and stuff like that. I just put the MIT license on it. I'm going to create the repository. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Travis CI to make sure that that repository is linked to Travis. So it's travis-ci.org. It's going to ask me to sign in, so I've linked it to my GitHub account, so I'll sign in with that. And it's here. So now if I go up to my account name at the top, click on accounts, it's here. So if I sync it with my account, I should find any repositories I have. So it's found one, the one that I've just created. I'm going to turn it on so that now Travis is going to see any updates or any pushes to the master branch in PGA Leaderboard and run the appropriate file. So I need to make sure I have the travis.yml file in my repository, and that'll trigger the push. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open a terminal window at my files. So I'll open terminal here. So the terminal window. So I'm currently in my CA2 project, and if I do a list on that LA, I can see all my files. So the files I want is the PJ leaderboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to clone my existing repo here into this folder. So it's git clone the name of the repo and bring it down. So it's already got a read word. So I wanted to put it into the CA files folder. So if I go in there, it's empty, and this is where I'm going to store all my files actually for the CA and show you. So I do my git clone from here. I'm just use the up arrow twice. Should be there. So I'll clone that repository into it, and if I do an ls-la, I'll see that PGA is there, PGA leaderboard, and if I list that directory, I just have the few files that were created when I initialized the repository. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the files from, I'm going to go back a directory, I'm going to go back another one, and I'm going to go cp space to copy -a to do all the files. I'm going to go PGA, I can tab to get the folder, and I'm going to send it to CA files. I'm going to put it into the PGA leaderboard folder. So now if I go into that folder, ls-la, I can see that they're there. So I have my travis.yml file, and I also have my test folder. So what I'm going to do is I will show you the travis.yml file first of all. So in here in the PGA leaderboard is travis.yml. So it's telling me that the language the test is going to run is Ruby. It's telling me the version I want to run is Ruby 2.1.5, and then I can tell it. So I've told it that the script is the command is Ruby. It's in the test folder, and it's called test PGA leaderboard.rb. So you can see it here on the left hand side, test PGA leaderboard.rb. So in here I have all my classes which is inheriting from the test unit test case. I've got a few of them in there. So I've written a few tests, which will do this. Another test there, final test, and then down the bottom then is the code that the functions will work off. So if I go back to my repository, I'm going to push these into the Git repository. So I'm going to go git add dot to add them all. I'm going to go git commit dash m, put a message in. So I'm going to call this my first commit for PGA leaderboard gem. So it's added those files that it's found as new. I'm going to go git push origin space master. So I'm going to push it to the master branch in github.com. So it's gone up now, you can see it's gone from the master to the master. So if I go back here now and I refresh this page, I should see my files there now. So there's my Travis file, my test file. So now that this is pushed, it should automatically find it on Travis. So if I go back to Travis, go into my account, back to my dashboard, my repositories, sorry, I'm just trying to find it now for it. It should have picked it up by now. So now it's found it. So it's run the commit, one has passed, and if I scroll down to it, I can see here there's some 3 tests, 10 assertions, 0 failures, all passed. It exited with a code 0, which means everything passed, and this can be implemented into the pipeline. It took 23 seconds, and you can see here the commit version. So if I go back and I go into my leaderboard, sorry, that's the wrong folder, I just need to drag this one here in. And I decide in my test folder that I decide that I'm going to put in a new test. So I'm just going to replicate this test, and I'm going to change it to 0.46, and I should expect them back 0.46. So I'm going to save that, it's just been updated. Go back to my terminal window, and if I do a git status, I should see that that has been modified and needs to be changed. So I'm going to go git add that file, git commit dash m space new test added to repo. So I do that, it's added in, so I'm going to go git push space origin space master. So it'll push it back up, and now it'll be updated. So if we go back to the PGA leaderboard and refresh it, we can see that the 2 commits now goes to 3. It says the new test added to repo. It knows where it is. It's telling me it's in this folder, test, and just this file here, test leaderboard RP. So based on that, it should push to Travis and find it. And as you can see here now, it's running at the moment. So it's automatically picked it up. It's the number 2 test. It started 15 seconds, 16. It'll head on, do its test. Fairly quickly it picks it up. And it's already finished past 2. So you see now it's gone 3 tests, 11 assertions. It was 10 previously, 11 now. They've all passed, 0 failures, and this. So as you update your repos, and if you have your master branch connected to Travis with your test run, it'll automatically run the test and notify you via email when they are done. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is follow on from the Travis testing previously. I'm going to go through a few Git features and functionalities. I'm going to show you how I deploy a Rails app from local to Git and then push it on eventually to a hosting site. And I'm going to use Heroku today. And then I'm going to go on and show you a bit about branching, a bit about forking, and then collaboration and a few conflicts. So we start off by creating a repository on GitHub. So I'm logged in already from the previous exercise, so I'm going to go new repository. I'm going to create a new project and I'm going to call it Reddit. I'm going to initialize it here. I'm going to make sure it's Ruby again so that it'll ignore some of the folders. I'll show you that file shortly. And then I'm just going to assign the MIT general license to it. So I'm just going to copy the repo forward for my local one. So when I go into the terminal window, I'm in here in the CA2. So if I do a ls-la, I'll see that I have my CA files directory, which I'm going to go into. And in here, I have previously my PJ leaderboard, but I'm going to clone my Reddit repository into this folder. So now when I do an ls-la, we now see the Reddit directory, and I go into cd Reddit and ls-la, and here I just have the initialized files. So I had been working on a previous project, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out and do that. So I'm going to go cp to copy -a, so I have a Reddit folder, and I'm going to copy that to ca files Reddit. So that's it there. So now when I go cd space ca files, and then if I do the ls-la, you'll see Reddit, so cd Reddit ls-la, there's all my files that I need for my project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it now, Rails S, show it running locally, and then we configure it to put it up onto the GitHub, and we push it to a remote site Heroku. So it's running now on the local host, so if I go to localhost port 3000, we have it running here. So previously I've put in 2 links to show you how it works. So the site is as such where you have links, you can upvote, downvote sites, but you need to be registered. So I've previously registered, I can log in, and now I can downvote stuff, downvote. So the idea of the site is that you go in, you submit a link, the link appears, and it can be voted by people. So you can either click visit link, and it'll link a directory in the same window, or I can go back, go into the NCI website, you'll see it in here, maybe comments about it, visit URL, or visit as well clicking on this title here. So that's more or less, people can log in, submit links, people can comment on them, vote them, see which one's good. So that's more or less the app. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a Heroku login for it. You can see here where the Rails server is running with all the commands. So I'm just going to stop the Rails server. I'm going to clear this to make it neater. So I'm going to go Heroku login. So I'm going to log into Heroku. My email and my password. So now it's telling me I'm logged in. So I'm going to create a Heroku application, and I'm going to go to command Heroku create, and then you can name your application or leave it blank and it'll create one for you. So I'm going to call mine Reddit deployment. So it's created it for me, Reddit deployment, and there's the link for it on the Git of Heroku. So now what I'm going to do is, where I am now is in Git, so I'm going to push all these files to Git. So Git space add dot, I'm going to go git commit -m, I'm going to call it git first upload of application. It's added all the files. I'm going to go git push origin space master. So let's put them all up. So if I go back to GitHub, and I refresh the page for it, I should see all my files. You'll also notice that the git, I'll show you here, the git ignore file. Just bring it in here for you. So in here there's a git ignore file, so it's telling me what to ignore. So it's telling me to ignore the temp, the test temp folders. So anything in here will be ignored by Git when adding it to the repository. It's just a safety feature they have. So as you can see now, we're uploaded, everything's in Git and all my files are there. So if I go back here, I'm going to push the same repository up to Heroku. So I'm going to go Git, push, I'm going to go to Heroku, and I'm going to put the master branch up. So it's building the source, it detects it's a Ruby app already, compiles it, puts it all in, fetches each one, it installs the gems that it needs, and it goes down all the way through it. So it's saying here it failed, so it's failed to install gems via bundler. So it's telling me that the gem install SQLite tree is not succeeded. The reason for this is that Heroku doesn't support SQLite tree and it's required gem, so we don't need it for Heroku. So if I go into my files again for the application, I can open a file called gem file. So in here we can see that there's an SQLite required. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that that's only required in the development environment. So I'll just bring it down here a bit. I can type in group space development do. So anything within this for development it'll do. So what I want to do is, sorry, didn't mean that. Do. So I'm going to use the SQLite tree in development, and I'm going to end that group. So then I need to create it for production. So I'm going to go group production space do. Sorry, it keeps doing this. And in here I need two gems for Heroku. So it's gem space PG and gem space Rails underscore 12 factor. And then end. So I'm going to save that gem file, and then I'm going to go back to the command prompt, and I'm going to do a bundle install without. So I'm telling Rails not to bundle anything for production, so I don't need them. So it'll rebundle all the gems for the application. So it's done them all there, 51 gems, 16 gem file dependencies. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to update my Git. So I'm going to go Git add space dot git commit dash m, the message, and I'm going to say that I updated my gem file with gems for Heroku. It's done that. So the git status now, I can see that I'm two files changed, so I need to update that. So I need git push origin space master. Now I can push the same thing, git push Heroku space master. So I'm going to push the new ones up with the new gem file. Detected a Ruby app again. It's running, installing the gems. Hopefully it'll go by the SQLite one this time because it's not needed. So that's done now. So I'm going to go to the web browser, open another tab, and go to Heroku.com. I'll log in here. My dashboard, you should see the application I created earlier via the command prompt. So here's the Reddit deployment. I can go into this, click on the three dots, and I can open the app. So as you can see here, it says something went wrong. So what went wrong? Well, at the moment, we never initialized the database. So what I can do is I can go back to the terminal window. And what I can do is I can type in, let's clear this again, I can type Heroku space logs. It'll show me what's going on. So Heroku, I can see here, it's selecting star.links from links, which is from a database, but it can't find a database. So what we need to do is we need to initialize the database. So what we can do is type is Heroku space run space rake and db migrate. So it'll run all the commands to get the database into the right application. Yeah, that seems to have done it. So if I go back to the application in the browser and refresh it, my application's here. Nothing in it because it's a new deploy, database is empty. So if I go to sign in, I can try my previous username and password, but I shouldn't have copied over because it was on the local branch, it's not. So what I can do is I can sign up, put in my name as Alan, my email address, then I can put in a password and another password. Sign up. So now I've signed up successfully. That's what I say about password. I'll say yes for the moment. And this. So now I can submit a link. So I'll put a new link on it, put in a title, call it this is the NCI website, and the URL is NCI URL, submit. Have it in, there's my link. If I go back to the home page, you can see it here on its own, submitted by me less than a minute ago. Up, down, vote it, click on it, it'll bring you to the link, like the demo I showed you earlier, and I can go back. And I can submit another link, put in another one for github.com for the repo needs. I put in github.com, submit it, and it's there. So now people can vote on it, upvote it and downvote it as they wish. So it seems to be running great. So what I want to do now is I want to be able to have automatic deployments. So that whenever I deploy to the master branch on GitHub, I'd like it to automatically deploy to Heroku. So if I go back to the dashboard for Heroku, I can go into the deploy tab here. So if I click on deploy, and I can scroll down, and here I have a deployment method. So I can connect to GitHub. So I'll connect this to my GitHub account, and now it's asking me connect to GitHub. So it's telling me my username, which is me, and then the repo name. So the repo name is Reddit. I'll search for that, and it's here. So I want to connect to that. So now what it's telling me is it's connected to that repository. I want to enable automatic deploys from GitHub and the master branch. If you also have any CIs, it'll wait for the CIs, like Travis CI, to run before it'll deploy. So I need to enable it here by clicking enable. So enable automatic deploys, and it says here automatic deploys from master enable. So anytime we update the master, it should automatically come on to they should automatically come on to Heroku without any intervention. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at branching now. So within branching, I'll close that and I'll leave that open, which is my Reddit application. I'll click there to make sure it's done. This is the localhost one, which I can look for testing. So it's actually stopped because I've turned off the server. So what I'm going to do now is check out branches. So if I go back to the terminal, I can see it. I'll clear the screen. So I can go git branch in the Reddit repo. So I'm on the master branch, so there's no branches. So what I want to do is I want to add functionality for the links to open in a new window rather than opening in the same window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a branch called git branch, and I'm going to call it new window. So it's created. So if I do a git branch again, you can see that it's a new window, but I'm on the master one. So what I want to do is switch to the branch. So it's git checkout new dash window. So now if I do a git branch, you can see I'm on the new window branch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make change to GitHub. Sorry, I'm going to make a change for the link to open in the new window. So if I go back to my editor, close my gem folder anymore. So I'm going to go to my application folder, views, links, and in here I'm going to go to the show.html file, and here's the link that shows the URLs. So on line 2 is where the link is shown, so it's link.url. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, after the ahref, I'm going to put in code that says target, which will tell me where the link goes when I click on it, is equal to underscore blank. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want it to look like. Okay, so I'm going to save the changes to that. I'm going to open my local host, and I'm going to rails space s to run the server. So I'll wait for this server to be up. So as you remembered earlier when we were doing it, it would only open, it would overwrite the same window. So refresh this, it should be loading. So this is the link I was talking about that used to just open it. So if I click on it now, it still opens, but this is the page I want. So click on this, and it now opens in a new tab or a new window. So previously it would have overwritten the previous one and we lost where we were. So now they still have access to this, and I can go back and close this. So it works the way we want it to. So I'm happy enough that the change is correct. So I can go back here, I can stop the server running, clear the window. So now what I'm going to do is git space status, show me what's changed. So it's telling me that the log has changed, which isn't in the git ignore file, so it'll upload it, and then the application file I've just edited. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go git add space dot, so I'm going to add everything, and I'll go git commit, put an M for message, type my message, which will be new window functionality added. Then I'm going to go git push origin master. It's going to push it up. So if I go back to my GitHub, have a look here, I'll refresh it. I had 2 commits before, now I have 3. If I look down here, I can see what's done for what. So I can go first load application, go into the app, go to the views, the layouts, sorry, go back one, links, show the HTML DRB, and it's not there, sorry, one sec. Sorry, so what I done was I pushed it up and it was still in the branch. So what I want to do is I want to merge the branch back into the window. So what I've done is I need to merge it. So I'm going to go git branch, which is on the new window. So what I want to do is I want to go to the master branch, git checkout space master. So you always merge into the master. Okay, so now if I do git branch, it'll show I'm on the master branch. So what I want to do is git merge. So I want to merge the new window in. So now it's adding, it's telling me the 2 files now I've added. So now if I do a git status, I've got 2, so my branch is ahead of the master. So if I do git add dot, I'll go git commit dash n space added new window functionality. And now if we go git push space origin space master. Now go back here, hopefully now we'll see it updated. So now it says the latest one, 4 commits, and here it is new functionality. The CO is added to this folder only because it's not listed anywhere else. Go in here, new functionality views, go in here, links, it's added, and it's just this file, show HTML. So based on that, on my remote site, the links were, as you can see, when I click on them, it opens this, and when I click on it, the functionality now is there on Heroku. I didn't need to push it, I just pushed it to GitHub and it automatically deployed it to Heroku. So now that's working, I'm happy enough with everything. So now if I go back to the terminal, I can go git branch delete it new dash window. So I'm going to go delete the branch, git branch, and now I see they're gone because I'm confident everything is and it's merged into the main window. Alright, now what I'm going to do is show you for forking. So I'm going to open a new incognito window which will forget all my logins. So I'm going to go to github.com, and what I've done is I've created a second login for a team. So I'm going to sign in, and it's going to be NCI dev team and my password to sign in. So now what I've done is I have an account here. So what I want to do is I want to fork the Reddit repo. So what I'm looking for is mine here. So if I search for me, I find that there's none there, but I can see code here. So I've got code, PGA leaderboard, Reddit. So I'm going to go into Reddit and I see it. This is the one I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fork that repo into the NCI dev team. So what I can do is I can do work on it here, independent of the original one on my own account. So what I'm going to do is, because of functionality, I'm just going to do everything through the web client. So if I go into the app folder, go into views, go into links, and then I'm going to go into the same file, show HTML ARB. So in here we had a link to files. I'll show you here what we're doing. Go back to the site. So here's the original site. So when I go in here and look at the link, this visit URL still overwrites it. So what I want to do is get somebody else to do the functionality for me. So we're going to go back to the NCI dev team account and we're going to see them do it. So on line 6, this is it here. Sorry, I'm going to edit the file first. I'll click on this. So here we have line 6, link 2, which is the Rails helper function for URLs, and what I want to do is I want to put in the functionality for the target window. So what I'm going to do now is type in target colon underscore blank. That should give me functionality. Sorry, there's a space there. Functionality to publish to it. So I'll go down here. It's asking me for comments. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say added new window functionality to the visit URL button. Commit changes. So now it says I've added a new functionality to the visit URL button and it's in now. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to the root here, NCI dev team, go into the Reddit, sorry, go back to the root of this, and I need to create a new pull request to go back to my original account for the changes. So I click on new pull account, it's showing me the differences, so it's telling me that this has been inserted and everything else is okay. So I'm going to tell it to go to the Reddit branch of my own, from the forked master copy here. So I'm going to go create pull request. It's going to tell me what to do. Add it. I'm going to leave a comment going, hi Alan, I've added the functionality for the visit URL button to open a new window. Thanks, NCI dev team. I'm going to create that pull request, and that's now gone. So if I go back to my original account, which is here on Reddit, and I refresh it, now what I can see is here and have a new pull request. So if I go into the pull request, I can see what it is, click on it here, I can see it. Hi Alan, I've added the functionality, blah blah blah. So if I go into files changed, it'll show me what's changed, and I can verify it or I can edit it if needed. But I'm happy enough what he's done. Should work. So I'll go back to the conversation tab. I'm going to merge the pull request because I'm happy, and I can confirm the merge. Click the green button. So that merge has gone ahead. No more pull requests. I'll go back to the code, and I can see that the merge pull request was the last update from the NCI dev team member. So you can see it's done. If I go back to the remote application, which is this one, I can refresh the page, and if it's already deployed and updated, when I click this button, it should open in a new window. And it's done. So now you can just open it, and you still are left with where you were before. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll go back to my repo, and I'm still in the Reddit. So if I do a git status, it's going to tell me I'm up to date. But what I want to do is I want to pull down the local copies to see it. So git space pull. So it's telling me there's a few additions and subtractions from it. So it's telling me the files that it is, and I now have them. So you should always run a git pull before you start running on a new version or update new software, so you always have the latest repo available to you. The final thing that I'm going to show you is collaboration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how people can collaborate on projects without pull requests. So I'll just clear that screen. So what I'm going to do is go in here to my GitHub account. I'm going to go into the settings, and I'm going to go into collaborators, and I'm going to add a collaborator for the NCI dev team, and you see here as you type it filters them out, and I have one here, NCI dev team. I'm going to add that as a collaborator, so now they're part of this Reddit project. So if I go back to their GitHub here, you can see that should be here. Sorry, that's not my own one. This is my own one here. And when I go into Reddit, I'm now a collaborator on this project. So one contributor, click on it. Sorry, the members, I took this to tab, and you can see here that I'm on it as the NCI dev team. So I'll go back to the code. So what I want to do now is I want to create a new branch, and I want to be able to work on it. So I'm going to go git space checkout, so I can check out, move to a branch, and create it all in one go. So I'm going to go checkout -b space branch. So I've switched and created a new branch. So what I want to do is I want to push that branch up to the server. So I'm going to go git space push space origin space dev. So I'm going to push it to a dev branch. So it's done it, let's push it up. So if I go back here for the collaborator, he now sees the dev and the master. And if I go to my own one, I also see it here. It also says here 2 branches. Click on them and I can see master, dev, and the active ones. So what I want to do now is I want to go on to the dev team. What I want to do here is I want to make a change. So if I switch to the dev branch here, so I'm working on the dev branch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the application folder, I'm going to go into views, I'm going to go into layouts, and I'm going to application.html or B. So I'm going to go edit the file, and I'm going to change the link on the tagline on the site, which is this file here, and I'm going to call it the best Reddit site around. I'm going to commit the changes. So I'm going to say updated tagline of the site. I'm going to commit it directly to the dev branch. So now it's committed. There was no need to do a pull request, and if I go back to Reddit, you can see that it is on the dev branch, and you can see that here it is, the updated latest tagline. So now what I want to do is I've committed changes. So when I'm back in my local folder, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do some changes to the same file and create a conflict. So if I go back to it, I'll close this file. So it's the app folder, views folder, layouts folder, and the application HTML ERB. So I can open this. So here's the link here that I changed. So what I'm going to do is change that, and I'm going to say it's the only Reddit site you need to visit. Do that. So I'm going to save those changes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the terminal. I'm going to push them up to dev branch. So if I go git branch, I see I'm on the dev branch. So I'm going to go git status, and it tells me that the application has to be updated. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go git add those files. I'm going to go git commit -m. My message is updated tagline to new tagline. Okay, done that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go push it to the dev branch. Go git push origin space dev. So it's telling me that it was rejected. That updates rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. So it's telling me to do a git pull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go git pull origin dev. So I'm going to pull down the dev one. So now what it's telling me is that there is some files that are auto merging of application at ERB. So it's telling me that there's a conflict in that file and I need to change it. So if I go back to the file here, it's already done it. So the head is where it starts with the chevrons and ends at the chevrons. Always above the dotted, so the conflicts are separated by the equals sign. The one above it is mine, and the one below it is the conflict. So as I can see, here's the one I put in, the only site, and then the best Reddit site is round. So I need to delete the tags from the head and the middle and the middle, and what I need to do is decide which one I want to keep. So I'm going to keep my own, delete that one, save the changes. So now what I've done is I've saved the changes, decide on mine. So now what I need to do is I need to add them again. So I need to go git add that, I need to go git commit -m space, and I'm going to say the same thing. So tagline updated to reflect, updated to show the only tag line. So what we're going to do is git push origin to the dev. So I'm going to push that to the dev branch. It should be gone up now. So if I go to the git site, and that's the dev, so if I go to my own one here, go into Reddit, I'm in the master branch, so it's telling me the last update was when we did a pull request. So if I go into the dev branch, I can see here tagline only updated, show the only tagline. Shows me here when I go into it, app, and the one change that was available. So I'll go back to dev, and even if I go to the Reddit site and I launch, I refresh it, the changes aren't there, and that's because it only picks up changes from the dev branch, from the master branch. So changes I made to the dev don't show up. So what I'm going to do now is, just to prove how it works, is I'm going to merge this. So I'm going to go git branch to see where I am, still in dev. So I'm going to go git checkout master, then I'm going to merge it in, git merge dev, I'll pull the dev branch in, I'm going to go git add everything, git commit -m, and this is the tagline update, and then git push origin, and this time I'm going to go to the master branch. Master's updated. I can go back to Reddit, look at my code, and I can see the tagline is updated to show the online from the dev branch. And when I go to the local to refresh the site here, it hasn't come in yet, but it'll eventually show in to show Reddit. So now the only Reddit site you need to visit, so it's once I merged the dev into the master and pushed it, it updated on the site. So now what I can do is I can get rid of that branch. So I can go git branch -d space dev. So I've now deleted that branch, and that's it done. So now you can see how you can put a website up with Travis CI continuous integration, record it. Sorry, you can put it up, record your tests, push it up. The tests will run. They'll email you to show you the results as well, to say it passed or failed. You can integrate it into a continuous integration pipeline, a deployment pipeline, so it'll have a knock-on effect for deploying to other servers once the tests are correct, which would be the commit stage of the deployment pipeline. Then you move on to deploying it. So we've seen how we deploy it to Heroku and make sure that certain databases and gems need to be updated just for that specific environment. Then we went on to branching, showed you how to do branching and making sure that you don't ever edit directly onto the master. You always create a branch, work on the branch, and then once you're happy with it, you can then merge it into the master. We then showed how you can fork an account for another team, work on it, and create a pull request, have it merged in once you're happy with it, and the original guy or the original owner can then review the work. We then showed collaboration and conflicts, where you need to review if there is changes, where we had the head and the two different files. So I hope that gave you a quick introduction and idea of GitHub and a little bit of Travis and CI. So thanks very much for watching, and see you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.